All right, America, buckle up. We're about to embark on a journey that dives deep into the heart of our financial system. This isn't just any ordinary topic, it's one that impacts every single one of us, whether we realize it or not. Today, we're diving into the belly of the beast, the financial system, and specifically something called the Federal Reserve. This institution, often shrouded in mystery and complexity, plays a pivotal role in our economy. But what exactly does it do, and why should you care? Now, I know what you're thinking, John, this sounds about as exciting as watching paint dry, but bear with me, because understanding the Federal Reserve is crucial to understanding the broader economic forces that shape our lives. But trust me, this stuff affects you, your wallet, and the future of this country more than you might realize. From the interest rates on your loans to the value of your savings, the Fed's decisions ripple through every aspect of our financial lives. We're talking about G. Edward Griffin's book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, specifically chapter 26, where he lays out a bold plan, dismantling the Federal Reserve. Griffin's work is a deep dive into the history and operations of the Fed, and it raises some provocative questions. Griffin argues that the Fed, far from being a benevolent protector of the economy, is actually a secretive, unelected body with way too much power. He suggests that this institution operates with a level of autonomy that is both alarming and dangerous. He claims it manipulates our money, fuels inflation, and benefits a select few at the expense of the many. According to Griffin, the Fed's policies often lead to economic disparities where the rich get richer while the average person struggles to make ends meet. Now, I'm not saying Griffin's right or wrong, but his ideas are worth considering. It's important to question and critically analyze the institutions that hold so much power over our lives. After all, informed citizens are the backbone of a healthy democracy, especially if you're tired of feeling like you're stuck on a financial roller coaster you didn't sign up for. The ups and downs of the economy can be exhausting, and understanding the forces at play can help us navigate these turbulent waters. So put on your thinking caps, America, because things are about to get interesting. We're going to explore the arguments for and against the Federal Reserve and what dismantling it could mean for our future. This isn't just a theoretical exercise, it's a conversation about the kind of economy we want to build for ourselves and future generations. To understand Griffin's case, we need to go back to the origins of the Federal Reserve. Created in 1913, the Fed was established in response to a series of financial panics with the goal of providing a safer, more stable monetary and financial system. But has it lived up to that promise? Critics like Griffin argue that instead of stabilizing the economy, the Fed has often exacerbated economic problems. They point to instances of high inflation, financial bubbles, and economic recessions as evidence that the Fed's interventions can sometimes do more harm than good. On the other hand, supporters of the Fed argue that it plays a crucial role in managing the economy, especially during times of crisis. They believe that without the Fed's actions, the economic downturns could have been much worse. So where does that leave us? It's clear that the Federal Reserve is a complex and controversial institution. Whether you agree with Griffin's call to dismantle it or not, it's important to engage with these ideas and consider their implications. Because at the end of the day, the decisions made by the Federal Reserve affect all of us. By understanding its role and questioning its actions, we can better advocate for a financial system that works for everyone. So, let's keep the conversation going, America. Our financial future depends on it. Griffin doesn't just criticize the Fed, he offers a way out. He proposes a 16-point plan to dismantle this creature and replace it with, well, something else. We'll get to that later. First, let's break down his plan, shall we? His steps involve things like prohibiting the creation of new money by the Fed, ending legal tender laws, meaning you wouldn't be forced to use dollars, and abolishing fractional reserve banking, which is a whole other can of worms. He wants to return to a system based on gold and silver, which he believes will bring stability and honesty back to our financial system. Now, I'm not going to pretend I understand all the ins and outs of Griffin's plan. It's complicated stuff. But the gist is this: he wants to take power away from the Fed and give it back to the people. One of Griffin's most radical proposals is to stop the Federal Reserve from printing more money. This idea, while seemingly straightforward, carries with it a multitude of implications that could reshape the economic landscape as we know it. Just cut it off cold turkey. No more new money entering the system. This abrupt halt is akin to slamming the brakes on a speeding car. He argues that this constant creation of new money is what causes inflation, which essentially makes your money worth less over time. Inflation erodes the purchasing power of your hard-earned dollars, making everyday goods and services more expensive. Imagine a swimming pool, right? Inflation is like someone pouring buckets of water into the pool. The more water that gets added, the less space there is for each individual drop. The more water they pour, like printing more money, the less valuable each drop of water or dollar becomes. This analogy helps to visualize how the value of money diminishes as more of it is introduced into the economy. Now, ending this money printing spree would definitely send shockwaves through the economy. The immediate impact would be felt across various sectors from Wall Street to Main Street. Some economists argue it would lead to deflation, where prices actually go down. Deflation might seem beneficial at first glance, as it means lower prices for consumers. This might sound good, but it can also cause problems like businesses struggling to make profits and people delaying purchases, hoping for even lower prices. This delay in spending can lead to a vicious cycle of reduced demand and further economic slowdown. It's like a game of economic Jenga. You pull out one block, money printing, and the whole tower might start to wobble. The stability of the entire economic structure could be at risk, leading to unpredictable and potentially severe consequences. History has shown us the dangers of deflation. During the Great Depression, deflation exacerbated economic hardship, leading to widespread unemployment and poverty. The fear is that stopping the printing of money could trigger a similar downward spiral. On the other hand, proponents of Griffin's proposal argue that it could lead to a more stable and sustainable economic environment in the long run. By curbing inflation, the value of money would be preserved and the economy could potentially avoid the boom and bust cycles that have plagued it for decades. Small businesses and entrepreneurs might benefit from a more predictable economic climate, where the value of their investments and savings is not constantly eroded by inflation. This could foster innovation and long-term growth. The debate over whether to stop the Federal Reserve from printing more money is complex and multifaceted. It involves weighing the immediate risks against the potential long-term benefits. Economists, policymakers, and the public all have a stake in this critical discussion. Ultimately, any decision to halt money printing would need to be carefully planned and executed, with measures in place to mitigate the potential negative impacts. It would require a coordinated effort from various sectors of society to ensure a smooth transition. While the idea of stopping the Federal Reserve from printing more money is radical, it opens up a conversation about the future of our economy. It challenges us to think critically about how we manage our financial system and what kind of economic future we want to build. In the end, the goal is to create a stable, prosperous, and equitable economy for all. Whether or not Griffin's proposal is the right path forward, it serves as a catalyst for important discussions and potential reforms that could shape the future of our financial landscape. Section 4. The value of something real. Transitioning to a commodity-backed currency. So if we ditch the Fed and stop printing money willy-nilly, what happens next? The idea of transitioning to a commodity-backed currency isn't new, but it's certainly a significant shift from our current system. Griffin suggests we go back to the good old days of a gold or silver standard. This means our currency would be backed by something tangible, something with real value. Imagine a world where every dollar bill in your wallet could be exchanged for a specific amount of gold or silver. This isn't just a nostalgic idea. It's a concept rooted in economic stability and trust. Think of it like this. Imagine if every dollar bill you had could be exchanged for a certain amount of gold. This would mean that the value of your money is directly tied to a physical asset, something that has been valued for centuries. That dollar wouldn't just be a piece of paper, it would represent something real, something with intrinsic value. This intrinsic value is what gives the currency its strength and reliability. Now, a commodity-backed system has its pros and cons. On one hand, it can provide a solid foundation for the economy, reducing the risk of hyperinflation and ensuring that the currency maintains its value over time. Supporters argue it prevents inflation and promotes stability. By tying the currency to a tangible asset, it becomes much harder for governments to print money recklessly, which can lead to runaway inflation. Critics say it can be inflexible and limit economic growth. They argue that a commodity-backed currency can restrict the ability of a government to respond to economic crises and can limit the growth of the money supply, which is necessary for a growing economy. It's like choosing between a sturdy old bicycle and a fancy new sports car. The bicycle is reliable and won't let you down, but the sports car offers speed and excitement, albeit with more risk. The bike is reliable, but the car is faster and more exciting. Similarly, a commodity-backed currency offers stability and reliability, while a fiat currency can provide more flexibility and potential for growth, albeit with greater risk. History has shown us the dangers of both systems. The Great Depression, for example, was exacerbated by the limitations of the gold standard, while hyperinflation in countries like Zimbabwe and Venezuela highlights the risks of fiat currencies. In today's complex global economy, finding the right balance is crucial. Some economists suggest a hybrid approach, where a portion of the currency is backed by commodities while still allowing for some flexibility in monetary policy. Ultimately, the goal is to create a system that promotes economic stability and growth, while protecting against the excesses and risks of both commodity-backed and fiat currencies. As we look to the future, new technologies like blockchain and digital currencies may offer innovative solutions to these age-old problems, potentially providing the best of both worlds. The debate over the best monetary system is far from over, but one thing is clear: the value of something real, something tangible, will always play a crucial role in our financial systems. Whether we return to a commodity-backed currency or find new ways to ensure the value of our money, the quest for economic stability and trust continues. Section 5. Power to the people, democratizing lending practices. Here's another big one. Griffin argues that the Fed's control over interest rates gives it way too much power over the economy. He wants to see a more decentralized system where individual banks and lenders set their own rates. Think of it like this. Right now, the Fed is like a giant thermostat controlling the temperature of the entire economy. Griffin wants to give every house its own thermostat. This could lead to more competition among lenders and potentially lower interest rates for borrowers. But it could also lead to instability and risky lending practices. It's like letting everyone drive their own cars without any traffic laws. Sure, it might be more freeing, but it could also lead to chaos.